Present.
John Fun,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Sig Easter,
Yes.
Jonathan Yeagle,
Yes.
Jason Nolan, Francie Miller.
Yes. Okay, up first is public comment and recognition of guests. Welcome everyone, but we did not have anyone submit a public comment. Up next we have presentations, and first we'll do exemplary nights. We're going to start with our staff members tonight. For our exemplary night staff members, they have been recognized by their peers for their exemplary work. As a Board of Education, we want to thank them for their efforts and the positive impact they make on Blue Ridge. Okay, up first from Schneider Elementary, we have Tanya Evans. From Intermediate Junior High, we have Leah Shaddix. And from the high school, we have Jacqueline Meisner. And then for our exemplary night students, tonight we recognize the exemplary actions that have brought these students to the attention of their teachers and the principal. As a Board of Education, we appreciate your efforts and excellence, and we want to say thank you for a job well done. From the high school, we have Will Chambers. Also from the high school, we have Chloe Massett. 8th grade, Olivia Meyer. 7th grade, Brantley Curtis. 6th grade, Kalina Bischoff. 5th grade, Charlotte Walters. 4th grade, Tony Edewale. 3rd grade, Hannah Martin. 2nd grade, Frankie Berry. 1st grade, Dottie Corey. And kindergarten, Amelia Worley.
Okay, let me coordinate you guys. We can stay there. I'm going to have you come this way. Perfect. Okay, right here. Right here. Thank you, right here. All right.
Under communications, we have the IASB liaison talking points. That's in your board packet. Next, we have committee reports.
Yeah.
Committee reports.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, we did have our committee report. Josh, I want to share a little bit about that today. We our facilities committee met.
Yeah, so we talked about the HLS at Schneider and different things they've done there, and then worked on the track project updates and talked about we're nearing completion on there, different punch list items are coming up and things like that. So.
Yep, and then we'll plan to meet probably a couple more times over the next few months to really look at BRHS HLS list as well as the high school HLS list. Jonathan or Sig, anything else to add?
A lot of masonry work and lintels to take care of, and a lot of doors.
Yeah. A lot of lintel and tuck pointing both at Mansfield and at Snyder. It's kind of a upcoming project that we're going to have here pretty soon. Absolutely.
And Rusty said he needs more time to get more bids on the preventative maintenance contract.
Yeah, but we should be able to bring those quotes next month and be able to vote.
All right, up next is administrative reports. Ryan?
All right, well, I'll do a short piece of my super report. Just one of the things that we received recently is districts around the state have received our preliminary school report card data, and so that information will be officially released at the end of this month. And so what we will do is be able to bring information to the board and community, just kind of some updates in November, really looking at the Illinois report card and kind of the measures that they utilize to determine designations for districts, looking at things like math and reading, growth and proficiency, science proficiency, graduation rates, chronic absenteeism, and so that's something that we'll look forward to talking more about in November. Okay, we're going to jump right into the QFR next. All right, so our quarterly financial report. You're going to see in front of you two different documents. One of those documents is a no early tax money revenue, which just means, typically when we do our tax levy, we receive revenue that comes from the state. That money is supposed to be for the 25-26 school year. Sometimes we receive early tax payments, and so that money comes in 24 or 25 school year. And so it kind of throws off some of our proposed revenues a little bit, makes things look a little bit different. So what we're going to take a look at today with our QFR, you've seen one of these before. We talked about one of these in August, I should say, August or September. If we take a look there in column B, you're going to see basically just all of the funds that are listed there. D should look very familiar. D, E, H, and K and L, those should all look familiar. Those are data points that are taken straight from FY26 budget that we talked about last month. Kind of the ones to pay attention to in column-wise will be column F. So that's the actual revenues that we received this year in FY26, basically. So if you look at the Ed Fund, we brought in $4 million. Another column to pay attention to is that column G. So that tells us basically the percentage of revenues that we brought in connected to what we proposed to bring in. So about 38%. O&M, you can see some revenue there, $519,000, 39%. Transportation, we brought in revenue-wise $286,000. Working cash, $44,000. Down at the bottom, those closed funds, you can take a look in column F. Bond and interest, $548,000. IMRF, $38,000. Site construction is $7,261.
why is it different? Like, why is the early tax separate? Does it matter?
It just kind of messes with your budget in general, because that early tax money really was intended to be for FY '26, but then it goes into your FY '25 budget. So you may look like we have some lower numbers, currently with revenue. Those revenues are actually here. We have money in the bank, they're just not reflecting in that unearned balance. So that's kind of what happens. This is kind of a new thing. I think it was last year, the year before, I think it was 2 years ago maybe, we started to receive early tax money in McLean County. This year we actually received early tax money from Piatt County as well. We received a total of about $4.5 million in early tax money. So that's very different than what we've done in the past. So it's kind of a big change. So as we get our audit in, we'll have a much better idea and just kind of more clarity. We'll have a lot clearer numbers. Any other questions? Okay. Well, we're going to move on to just an update for the strategic plan. Thank you to our principals for assisting with this as well. We're just going to focus on the quarterly updates this month. A couple of those come from the goal area 1, which looks at student achievement and curriculum. You guys see that out there on top? No? Okay. So you guys have it on your computer there. So the first thing we're going to look at sub-goal 1.1, that's just growing our examination of data to impact instructional decisions. So you can kind of take a look at the updates that we've had from all 3 buildings. That is a big part of what we do. It's the most important part of what we do, right? When we provide assessments, any type of data, we want to collect that, use that information to kind of drive our decisions moving forward. What that's like early, we've had some data days in buildings, grade level collaboration. A lot of that examination and analysis has come from looking at iReady data. And then from that information, we utilize that to really create our Tier 2, Tier 3 supports in all 3 buildings. Most of it is really focused around math and ELA, but we do have supports in other areas. That's kind of our key thing. High school, though, is a little bit different. They've also been utilizing some ACT data. That's been a conversation that's been brought up, is how do we continue, as that being one of our goals, how do we continue to make sure that we are above that state average and continuing to do well there. So in addition to iReady, analyzing that information of math and ELA, I was actually just at a recent training with them, and they've been utilizing ACT data, kind of diving into that, talking about where are there gaps at the high school that we can support instruction so we can improve those AT scores, where are some of the strengths and things that we're utilizing currently. And so that was actually a nice faculty meeting that I was at. That was just Friday, it seems like. It was like a long time ago. Jumping down to 1.3. 1.3 is providing all students with opportunities for enrichment and intervention. And so obviously that's been a conversation that we've talked a lot about. We've been working with our multi-tiered system of supports for quite some time. And that is just ways that we identify students and provide support to students who are maybe not on grade level or who are above grade level, just really meeting every student where we need to meet them at. So if you look at just some of the updates within the action, BRSE has been utilizing day-to-day conversations, analyzing that iReady data, alongside some dyslexia screening assessments and then curricular assessments. A lot of CKLA data that we have now with our new ALA curriculum. There is a pretty hefty assessment suite that comes with that, that allows our teachers to kind of see how students are progressing and then come up with ideas on how we can respond instructionally to support them. BRAJHS, done a lot with iReady, continuing to make sure that we're utilizing those grade level meetings to support students in all areas. And then, once again, very similar to BRAHS, utilizing that iReady data in math and English, and they've really set benchmark goals for growth for students and targeting specific supports that can be implemented. When we jump down a little bit, we're going to move down to section 2, and that looks at district and community relations. So how are we strengthening engagement, and communication with our community? The first goal looks at increased parent and community participation by offering a variety of accessible and engaging opportunities for families. Once again, taking a look in there, we're doing a lot. I feel like we're doing a lot, and it's something we will continue to work toward. And we actually have a VR Connect coming up next month that we'll do some more engaging. But it looks things like first night, with our CKLA curriculum, our new curriculum, we've been kind of incorporating celebrations into units so we can get families in to celebrate learning that's happening. PIE Night Walk currently happened, a lot of growing together events for the pre-K programming. All 3 buildings did parent-teacher conferences recently and really engaging parents, hopefully in that learning process. Even recently I've been working with the local fire department to get them involved in the buildings. First night was really a big one though. That's one of our great things that we do every year that really kicks off our year on a positive note. Really hopes to reduce some of the stress of those first days of school, and it's been a solid event since we've had that implemented. And then just really continuing to make sure that we're getting information out about athletic events and notifications and social media, which kind of falls into our next goal, which is 2.2, and that is that communication piece. Promoting that positive communication and consistent narrative of district achievements, values, initiatives. So a lot of that is the social media presence and getting information out about the things that are happening, whether they're athletic accomplishments or extracurricular accomplishments, academic accomplishments, different things that are occurring. All buildings have newsletters that are being sent out, sharing important dates and information. We've been updating some mediums, like for instance, my superintendent newsletter has adjusted and changed to hopefully to connect with some people, and really starting to begin some research on kind of that public relations and social media campaign. How do we continue to build that positive narrative consistently? I would say there are districts around us that have social media as people. I mean, that's what they do for a full-time job. Districts similar in our size, because it's really important that we're able to tell our story in the correct way. So, and really to highlight kind of initiatives and values and things that are there. So that's something that I'll be continuing to research a little bit on how we continue to have that consistent narrative. It's a lot of information, everybody, sorry. Goal area 4 is finances. So finances is kind of just on me. There are kind of two or three main goals, really 3 main ones that we'll talk about. One of those is preparing for contract negotiations. That is something that's kind of an always ongoing process. Been trying to not only communicate with our district finance coach, but then also neighboring superintendents, really trying to get some information related to current economic trends, regional salary comparisons, just really trying to find out ways that we can have sustainable budgeting to ensure the district remains competitive, with contracts, but also fiscally responsible. So, been working with our finance coach, developing scattergrams and just, different graphs and tools and tables that help us to kind of objectively look through information and prepare for upcoming negotiations. That is a work in progress. Down in the second one, the second goal is 4.2, which looks at maximizing investment funds. Once again, that's something that we're continually doing. We have kind of 2 main areas right now that we invest. We invest in Illinois investment funds, and then also we invest in local banks. Those are kind of our 2 main sources of or entities that we work with to invest our money. Obviously our goal is to make sure that we have financial stability and growth. And really we want to make sure that we are just getting the most returns out of the money that we have there. I'm actually meeting with a bank on Monday to talk about some rates, and that's something that I want to continue to do over the next month or 2, is see how we can get the most, just the best rates, so that we can get the most returns in the money that we have invested. Want to keep locally as much as possible, right? We always want to make sure that we're supporting our local banks, but we also have to look at what other options are available to us to make sure that we are maximizing money and getting the most out of our investments so that our kids can really benefit from that. And then last but not least, this one actually needs to be updated a little bit because eventually, at first I was going to present the QFR in October, but I went ahead and did that today. And so basically what this one does is just look at making sure that we are presenting information. One of those is related to the school budget. So we did the FY26 budget back in September, and then we did the QFR today. We'll do a quarterly QFR, so you guys can have an update with revenues and expenditures and just kind of fund balances and so on. So that's a quick look at our update for strategic plan. Any questions? Okay. All right.
Okay, up next, Mr. Easter.
All right, just real quickly for you. Let's see, I guess I'll hit on where we're at right now. We're in the midst of homecoming week. in the district. So all the principals are having theme days and lots of fun activities within the building. Kind of crazy. Kicked off here Sunday night with our coronation. We also had our newest Wall of Fame inductee, Ms. Shar Eubank. So that was kind of exciting, and she'll be our marshal of the parade, which is Friday afternoon. And the dance will be Saturday night. If anybody wants to chaperone, we're always looking for just random adults to show up to chaperone the dance. So just, let me know. Right? You're probably not invited, and Jonathan, you're probably not welcome either. So, but anybody else as well. Let's see. Recently, we had a visit for our sophomores and juniors. We had CEO came to visit to kind of pitch their program, because where I was trying to increase our participation in that, the Central Illinois CEO program. This year we have 2 students in that, and they kind of talk to our students about their experiences and why it's good for them, and the soft skills that they are learning there. And it's not just about opening a business, but it's about learning those different skills that can help you in any career. And also in that we had a representative from the Bloomington Career Academy, formerly BACC, it's now BCA, and they talked about all of their different programs that they have to offer to kids, and as they're trying to help them move on to the next phase of life after high school, be that a career, be that college, be that trade school, be whatever it is. There's all kinds of options there, and so I think they definitely opened the eyes of some students there as well. Recently we had about half our junior class take a practice ACT test, and we already have those results back, and almost all of our students, I think all but one, scores improved from last spring when they did the pre-ACT. So that was good news. And so tying into Mr. Payton's discussion, that one of our goals is we'll want to see our ACT scores continue to be above the state average, and so we've got some plans to address that throughout the school year at all grade levels. And let's see, just one more thing coming up next week, kind of a big thing. We've got Thursday night next week, we're doing a Volley for the Cure event. Our volleyball team has really been pitching this, and it's really close to home this year because it's all going to one of our families. There's a girl on the team whose mother is dealing with cancer, and so the girls have really taken ownership of that, and I think it's going to be a really spectacular event. And so if you can make it out next Thursday night for the Volley for the Cure, it'd be awesome. So, any questions? Okay.
Well, speaking. Okay, there, did someone goes on, forgive me. Talking about iReady, so this last week, Friday, we had the opportunity to sit down with one of the facilitators from iReady and really take a deep dive into some of our data. It was really good. I actually attended with our 6th grade and up ELA teachers, and it was just really good to see how we can go ahead and use that data to continue to improve instruction, inform instruction with our kiddos, and then what to look forward to next as we kind of dive into that data. In my report this month, I did focus on math. So as we're developing our school improvement plan, one of our goals is going to focus on math, because that's also one of the goals that we have in our school or our strategic plan. We just know that we want to set ourselves up to hit that 70% growth goal, typical growth goal for our students. So in the report, the graph that I showed you was our end of the year data showing that, hey, we're looking to increase that goal. And then looking back at the statistical category, that stay-9 right before our kids that met, shows that we've got 8% of our kids, and we're looking to at least move 5% of those up into that meets category. Obviously, our goal is to have every group of our students move up on those different stay-9s on our data. So that's going to be one of our focuses. And actually, this coming month, we're having the opportunity, Paige Trumbull and I are going to go see kind of the introduction to the Illinois numeracy plan. So if you remember us talking previous years about our kind of that science of reading plan that the state came out with, and we use it to analyze our curriculum, analyze our practices, and kind of inform that decision-making around adopting curriculum. They're coming out with a very similar plan for mathematics. They call it the Illinois Numeracy Plan. So the first drafts are just coming out here at the start of November. So we're hoping to get a kind of an idea, and then the state's asking for some feedback back on that. Parent-teacher conferences were fantastic this year. We had great attendance. As I remarked in my report, usually with a lot of things, you know, you get a really good attendance with all the younger kids, right? Kindergarten parents go to everything, right? And then as you go up in grades, it kind of drops off. And our parent-teacher conferences, outside of like having parents coming in or parents requesting at the junior high level, has always kind of not been as robust. This year there was a lot of activity with our junior high staff to get parents in, and we actually filled up our time slots both nights, which hasn't happened in my 4 years. It was awesome. So we're super excited about that. And lastly, our fall sports are underway. Our Lady Knights have been playing, started their basketball season. We're a little low on our 8th grade team, so our 7th and 8th grade girls are getting, our 7th grade girls rather, are getting a lot of playing time in both the 7th and the 8th grade game, but that's going to be a great experience for them as they move forward. And our boys will start tryouts on the 20th. So, and they've been doing some open gym dates to have the two coaches kind of see what we've got coming up talent-wise, and hopefully kind of start forming some of those relationships between coach and athletes. Any questions?
Thank you.
I won't turn it on. Hello, everybody. So I'll start light. The pumpkin bars are from Snyder's exemplary night staff member, and you see why she has exemplary
And I
night
feel like
status.
we'll reward her every month if she's
Oh.
bringing treats.
I mean, well, and so to add to that, I don't know if anybody reads the News Gazette, but last week there was a section, it's like board minutes and more or something, and I was gonna bring it, but they asked all of the principals to submit a few fun facts about your school. And so I gave, 10 fun facts about Snyder. And the one that he published was that I stated, and I hold to this, that we have the best breakfasts and lunches in Central Illinois. And I would challenge anyone to come and prove me wrong. So Tanya's amazing, our food's amazing. Our kids are really lucky. So we are eating well over there. If you ever want to come for lunch, you are always welcome. We've had a lot of special events happening. We still have more special events coming. We have kind of reconnected with the Farmer City Fire Department. We had a great time during Fire Safety Week. They came out and did some activities with the kids, with the smokehouse, and shooting the water from the hose, and talking about what firefighters look like when they come in the house. So that was really neat to get our kids learning about fire safety from them. We have a lot of other special events coming up this month. We have Pumpkin Olympics next Friday. We have Halloween, the parade, and Halloween parties, and then we're going to be rolling out the Thanksgiving meal, and we've got Veterans Day celebrations coming up, and then of course we've got Christmas and the movie and Santa visiting, and it's a great time to be a knight. So watch for those things to come up. I do want to address data. So David had a really good question that I want to clarify. And I don't want to get too in the weeds because sometimes data can get too just not relevant necessarily to board member roles. But I just kind of want to give a big picture overview. So iReady data is kind of a diagnostic system that different districts throughout the state use different systems. We use iReady. Depending on what your school or district needs, they may use something different. And when you're looking at that data, the way to interpret it, it says on ours, on the graphs that I put in, 1 grade level below. Well, that's because when students are taking a test at the beginning of first grade, they haven't learned first grade material. So they are coming in a grade level below because it's looking at the end of the school year standards. So if you've got a first grader who has just finished kindergarten and they have completed kindergarten expectations, they're going to go into first grade at kindergarten level, and they won't finish on grade level until the end of first grade. So it's a little confusing when you look at the data and you look and you see below, because automatically our instinct is to think, oh dear, what are we doing? Now, that's not to say we don't want to improve in certain areas. So our staff has decided that we want to move all those kids up, and we'll talk more about this next month. But I wanted you to kind of have an understanding of where that iReady data comes from. A better comparison tool is going to be our IAR data, and we'll talk more about that next month. But that's a test that's given to all the kids throughout the state of Illinois. So it's a little easier to kind of look at that data across the state. The other data piece that I wanted to share is we are working hard. We have had a lot of very energetic play that involves hands-on nearly all the time on the playground. And it doesn't appear to be malicious or mean in any way. It just really appears to be really spunky play. So we are working hard on reducing any kind of physical referrals. So that could be as simple as, you know, you're playing tag with your friend wants to stop playing, but you don't realize that, and you go over and you tag and your friend gets mad and pushes you back. Could be something like that. Could be something where you think your friend is playing with you and you're like, oh, I gotcha, from behind as a hug, and the friend doesn't want to be hugged. So we are working really hard on remembering that we don't play hands-on. One incentive that we've got in place right now is if we get no hands-on referrals during lunch, we get a few extra minutes of lunch recess the next day. We do not have any extra lunch recess minutes tomorrow. So that's how it's going. But we're getting there. We're getting there, and we are just kind of talking about it in class. We're using cool tools. We're talking about it on the announcements. Teachers are talking about it. So we're just kind of reminding everybody about being safe. Any questions? Okay. Nobody else is coming. Paige isn't here.
No.
Should I turn this off? Or does it need to be on?
Oh, you can see it there. It's
Okay.
And then the rest of the updates are in your board packet. Up next, we have consent items. Are there any questions or comments about consent items?
I'm not able to find the check register.
Yeah.
She just bought it.
Okay.
So I have it right here. If you guys would like to see it.
You can send it.
Yes, please.
When I turned the page, I feel like Sid's going to ask that one, and then you did, so it's kind of funny.
You were gonna say that?
No, I knew you were.
Oh.
I couldn't find it. I was like, oh, I feel like that's on. think we want to wait to vote on consent till he gets an answer.
Yeah, we have to read through it before I vote on it. You know, see, we could have done the jumps at it.
Ryan, there's a couple of things I noted. Do you need to get those updated before we vote, or?
Which ones are that?
Like, my name was on last week, or last month.
Yeah, those are updated in there.
Oh, they are?
Yep, those should all be updated. We updated those Monday when we sent out the second.
There's another meeting? Something else go out?
Updated Monday, correct?
Yeah.
The consent agenda and
Monday,
yeah, yeah, she came in.
Would that have been an email?
I think they just updated it.
Just
Yeah,
updated.
I updated it in Workbook.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think I sent another email out in the notification.
Yeah, so Jonathan Larson was absent in the regular meeting, and then the FOIA request has been updated too. Yeah.
There's another question, Ryan, the Tri-County Special Education.
Yep.
What all is that? Does that cover, it seems like a lot bigger than usual.
That covers a variety of things. It's a portion of that. So we utilize our services for like OT, PT. We have a part of speech. We have a special ed administrator. Those would be kind of the main psychologist. Yeah. So just several staff members that
I
we
think I was
utilize.
thinking of a different thing, because I was thinking of one of the alternative placement programs. This is the one where we're bringing people in to help. us
Correct.
out.
Yeah, they help support special ed and just related services.
He's still waiting for that. Do you want him to wait for that answer before we?
No, you can just let me know whenever you
Okay.
find that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you know.
Has everyone had a chance to look through? If so, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items listed on attachment A as presented.
So moved.
Nicole? Josh? Sorry, interrupted you a little bit there.
Jonathan Eagle,
Yes.
Jason Nolan, David Harris,
Yes.
Zach Ingrid,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. Up next, we have old business. First up is vape detectors.
All right, that is me. Let me get back to my. All right, so Mr. Kirkton, I believe, came maybe in April or May. Could have been. Okay. And he brought a proposal to the board just about looking at vape detectors for the district, really more so the high school at this point has been the focus. Attached, you're going to see 3 quotes that are here. Zeptive, Verkada, and Triton are kind of the 3 main products that we researched. There are similar districts around us that utilize these tools. So after kind of doing a lot of work and learning more about the devices, it seems to be most of them all have vape detection, possibilities. That's kind of what they're made for. The Triton tool itself has some additional features that don't necessarily or can't be found in the Verkada and the Zeptive. One of those is some people counting capabilities. So it has like a type of radar that it utilizes. Radar is a loose term, but basically it allows you to see the capacity of people that are in a restroom. It can let you see how long they're in a restroom. It can allow you to see things like the traffic patterns, all which can be helpful to give timely information to administrators to know when people are gathering in restrooms at times that they shouldn't be. It allows us to kind of be proactive and making sure that we're addressing this unwanted issue that we have of vape usage in general. So in addition, it has noise detection, occupancy levels. You know, it's really just a tool that allows us to make sure that we can hopefully work toward preventing some of the issues, you know, that we have currently that are existing across high schools all across the United States. But it's just kind of a proactive way to deal with vape usage. So what questions do you have? There's a lot there. You know, initially we kind of were looking at Zeptive, was kind of an option. We really like the wireless component of it. That's a very helpful part of it. After looking at Triton, you know, some of the things that it offers, you know, it's not wireless, but it does offer some of these extra features. I think, Dave, you kind of referred to it as LiDAR, kind of. Is that kind of a term that you utilize? So it just allows us to kind of detect, you know, usage of restrooms, occupancy. They also are talking about, they have a cell phone feature where it can detect Bluetooth on cell phones, and so if those phones are being utilized in restrooms, it can detect those as well. All kind of areas, you know, that seem to be distractions to the education process, and you know, hopefully implementing something like this would just really create a more positive learning environment. You can see the numbers that are down there. There's several quotes that are there. Jonathan had a really good question. He asked about licensing fees. So if you look at the quotes, the Triton quote, the number that's there actually has 1 year free licensing, so the licensing fee is not included in that. After that first year, basically I looked at three-year plans. When you look at multi-year plans, obviously it goes down a little bit. So the Zeptive cost is around $267 per unit for 3 years, so it's about a $4,200 cost for 3 years of the licensing software. Verkada is $3,600 for those 3 years, and the Triton is $5,700, but it's a 4-year because that first year is free. So you gotta kind of think about it through that lens. So Verkada is definitely the cheapest tool. Dave, do you want anything you want to share? I mean, do you have?
The Verkada product, the issue that you have with Verkada is that it's an entire ecosystem. So where the Zeptive and the Triton products work with our camera systems that we already have, the Verkada product is one works with their cameras. So if we want to integrate, well, one of the features that we like the most is the ability for a camera local to the bathroom to be able to take a snapshot before and after a detection, so that we can get an idea of faces that might be in space. Verkada won't do that unless we replace a camera or replace one of their cameras in the location. So that, again, that product, if we decide to get a camera, we would have to incur a cost of the camera, plus the licensing fee that goes along with it. They are a good product. They're made by the guy that makes Verkada, the guy that started the company, worked for Cisco Meraki, which is the previous camera system that we used to have. They're great products, but their licensing fees are very, very expensive. And they are a very closed ecosystem. They don't work with much of anybody else's product.
So 5,600 for 3 years. But
Four.
that, but like after
Yeah,
the first
yeah,
4
basically,
years,
yes.
then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to renew for 5,600.
Yep. And the other one, Zeptive, was probably our most, is really those two are kind of the top two by far. Zeptive's 3 years around 4,300.
And it's the kind of thing you can't use it at all if you don't pay the license fee, right?
Well,
So in the case of both products, they become standalone. So they have a local component that we can use to do some management. A lot of the features are greatly reduced, but as far as being able to function as a vape detector, they all work well, with the exception of Verkada. Verkada doesn't work with the Shen license. The Zeptive product and the Triton product both work as a vape detector. A lot of the other features, like the occupancy sensors and stuff like that, a lot of those are their capabilities are greatly diminished without the web component. And are you 100% sure on that licensing fee for? Did you contact them for a 3-year license, or is that based on the 137
that was
per year?
That was a 3.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Because there's a 1, 3, and 5-year plan. I mean, that's another conversation, is we can increase that. This is just, I'm trying to just compare apples to apples in some way, shape, or form, but we could do a 3-year plan. When we do the 3-year plan, it does reduce the cost annually for each unit.
What's the lifespan on these, and are they gonna become old and worthless at some point, or, I mean?
So, the lifespan on, according to the manufacturer, okay, they say that, the Triton product, they have a 10-year warranty. They expect the device to work for longer than that. With my background, I don't feel like they probably will. I mean, they'll probably last that long, but, you know, again, with electronic refreshes and stuff like that, you know, it's not likely that we're gonna use an electronic product for more than 10 years. The Triton product, I don't remember off the top of my head what, or the Zepto, I don't remember what the warranty was off the top of my head. They have their sensors are a little more transparent as far as how they work and where they're manufactured. They are very upfront about, you know, what you can expect as far as the half-life of the sensors is going to be, you know, when you can expect failure. When I talked to the gentleman, he said, you'll probably see some diminished capability of the sensors within 5 to 7 years. But they expect it to continue to work after that period of time. And again, I'm sorry, I don't know what the warranty
No,
is.
that's okay. Yeah, well, and that was another question I was gonna ask, was on the warranty, I mean, what is the warranty cover if someone were to, say, throw a shoe at one and damage it, what happens there?
Yeah, so vandalism's not covered. I mean, if it's an intentional breakage, I mean, that's not really going to be covered. But any kind of, you know, thing fails, dies, you know, whatever, if the sensor stops working, they'll cover all of that within the time frame. And I think the product, I believe, is a 3-year warranty.
Okay, so try this better warranty too.
Ryan said Zepto was 5 years.
Yeah, around 5 years. Well, I would think 5 years of the actual, the length of the sensor. You know, they kind of really talked about the conversation that we had was that after 5 years, it felt like there would definitely be a diminishing. So I can't imagine they would warranty it much after that. No.
Sorry, one other question. So the wired ones, I know originally when we were talking about the wireless, we were talking about how easy it was gonna be to hook it up. With the wired, is that gonna be an issue with the install with having to run wires?
So, Triton has a unique feature. Each one of the sensors has a switch built into it. So if you understand anything about networking, a switch allows you to connect 2 networking devices together. So with the built-in switch, we can actually daisy chain up to 5 devices. So 1 original, 4 additional in that chain. So the advantage in our particular case, most of our locations for restrooms, like the ones down here, the size of the rooms would need about 2 sensors per room. So 4 sensors total. We could run 1 cable to that location and then run all 4 sensors off of that 1 cable that home runs back to our network closet. So that greatly diminishes the amount of cable. If we were having a home run for every single one of them, then that's a lot of cable. And we're talking about 16 runs at an average cost with labor, even if, you know, just figuring labor costs, you're looking at between $150 and $175 per cable run in order to get them installed. So this is going to cut down on that significantly. Of course, there's not any labor costs when we're doing it, but that just gives you an idea of what kind of savings you have.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Are we ready for a vote? Okay, if so, I need a motion and a second to approve Triton vape detectors and smart safety sensors for Blue Ridge CUSD number 18 as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Sid? Larson? And we don't need a roll call on this?
Yeah, we do. Not sure why.
It says voice.
Jason Nolan, Sig Inger,
Yes.
David Harris,
No.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Yeagle,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. Okay, up next we have new business, delegate for III Joint Annual Conference.
All right, so annually we go to the III conference. A part of that is there's a resolutions committee that comes out of it where delegates go from each school district and basically provide and represent our district at these meetings. And so we need to nominate a delegate for this year's event.
You already said you would, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a life, follow right behind. Okay, unless anyone wants to fight Jonathan for it. Okay, so if not, I need a motion and second to approve Jonathan Yeagle as the 2025 III delegate for Blue Ridge CUSD number 18 as presented.
So moved. Second.
With much enthusiasm. Sig and Josh.
Francie, will you go ahead and change all of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Siginger,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Yeagle,
Yes.
Jason Miller, Francie Miller.
Yes. I was thinking maybe he was going to abstain from his own vote. Okay, up next we have the 2026 band trip.
All right, so traditionally, the band takes an out-of-state performance trip every 4 years to a major destination. This year, the band is proposing a spring break trip to Orlando. Attached is the letter from Mr. Mitchell, their band director, which includes some trips about the details about the trip and then also a proposed itinerary. There's also a question in the document. It states that there would be a document that talked about kind of where the cost came from, and so I have that document for you guys too. Just kind of gives a breakdown of the student cost. Yes, sir. Welcome.
Are there any questions or comments?
And this is all raised by the students for funding of the trip, like it has in the past.
A lot of it's student fundraised or raised from local organizations that support things like BRAF or.
They do, they do some fundraising, and the band runs the concession stand during winter sports seasons, and kids work the concession stands, and they share the proceeds for that because of their account to help fund their portion of the trip.
So if they want to raise any money, just send them my way. I can work those parents.
Yeah.
I just had a group that worked one football game for us, and their check was $4,400 for one game.
Wow.
So when I'm saying you can earn some money, look, just come see me. Yeah.
And I don't know if they'll come to the board and ask for any additional money to support the trip. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if that happened last time. I can't remember.
I know they do a lot of different fundraising. I saw some different things online that they have going on now too.
Okay.
With the haunted forest, I think they're running that concession out there too. So they do a lot of different ways for different students to be involved in different ways to raise their money. If there are no other questions or comments, I need a motion and second to approve the spring 2026 band trip to Orlando, Florida for Blue Ridge CUSD number 18 as presented.
So moved. Seconded.
Both Jonathans, Yeagle and Larson.
David Harris,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Yeagle,
Yes.
Jason Nolan, Siginger,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. Up next is Vision 2030.
All right, so Vision 2030 really is kind of a blueprint that was developed jointly. it's kind of a roadmap is to enhance K-12 public education. So this is a kind of a vision or a blueprint that was created from several different organizations. You know, their goal is to get districts all across the state to vote on this resolution, obviously, because it really gives, you know, it gives kind of that collective idea of how we should support and push Springfield and how they can best support K-12 education. So there's really kind of three main areas that this resolution looks at. One is future-focused learning. One is more of like a shared accountability, and then predictable funding for schools. You know, if you look at the resolution itself, you can kind of see down there where it dives into each one of those areas. You know, future-focused learning looks at, you know, we want to make sure that all of our K-12 students, you know, have opportunities to promote future-driven skills that allow for college and career exploration. You know, enhancing student safety and well-being, attracting and retaining high-quality teachers. You know, look at shared accountability. Obviously, is making sure we have Illinois assessment, reforming Illinois assessment to make sure that it's useful, meaningful, timely, and it measures both, not only student achievement but growth over extended periods of time, because we know how important that is. And then predictable funding. You know, when they did the last, I think it was Vision 2020, I think was the last kind of main kind of blueprint or roadmap that came out of this. That's kind of where a lot of EVF kind of conversations came from, and evidence-based funding formula. And so just making sure that there are predictable streams of revenue that can support public education and make sure that students are getting good educations and making sure that we are seeing achievement and growth in all of those individuals that are coming through our public schools.
Any questions? If not, I need a motion and a second to approve the Vision 2030 resolution for Blue Ridge CUSD number 18 as presented.
So moved.
Larson,
Second.
Josh,
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Hinkle,
Yes.
Jason Nolan, Zach Inger,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
yes. Up next is the Who We Play For heart screenings.
Okay, so this is actually something that I believe started maybe at the end of last school year. One of our nurses had reached out about this opportunity. So basically, Who We Play For is an organization that provides training and equipment that conducts ECG screenings for students inside of school settings. And so just kind of a little bit of the logistics side, I guess, or some of the nuts and bolts, but they require a $300 refundable deposit. And so basically that deposit is for the actual ECG equipment. Once we actually go through the screening process with students, we return that equipment and we receive that deposit back. Really the main cost to the district would be $150 in shipping. And then just subs for those days where nurses would be actually performing those ECG screenings. And so this will be a voluntary program. It would be for families with students between the ages of 12 and 18. And basically it'd be about a $20 fee per student per family to have a student screened. And we also think that there might be some great opportunities that would be available to families that may need some support if that $20 was financially kind of difficult for them to provide. So the ECG screenings are really important. When you take a look at how important they are because they help identify and prevent sudden cardiac arrest. And so it's something around the lines of 80%. There's some language as you look through there. 80% of persons affected by sudden cardiac arrest have no symptoms prior to an event. And so that's why we think it would be really important that we can provide this opportunity for families. You know, if they're interested in doing so, it's really available to any family that would be interested from ages 12 to 18. And this is a service I know that I think Hayworth does as well. Mrs. Cole Ross and Share that their district did that. And you know, it's just a great way to kind of hopefully prevent and be proactive in that screening process and hopefully keep students safe.
And do we have students like sign up before we have, like sign up to have the equipment come here then?
All good questions. So we're still kind of in the very early process of it. I wanted to see if you guys supported it first, and then we would kind of develop the specifics on how that would work. And so we were kind of figuring out a variety of questions, like would this be happen one time a year? Would it happen 2 times a year? what would sign-up process look like? How would fees be collected? There's also a training component, so that's part of this too. So once we would agree to this process, we would kind of sign an agreement about training and equipment. Then our nurses would both be trained, and then we would just kind of develop the logistics behind what that would look like moving forward.
Does that training involve how to analyze the screenings, or is that done by someone else?
Good question. So what happens is when this information, once they do the screening, the information is sent directly to families. And so it must be clear enough for them to understand. Yeah, I don't have all the details about that yet. I'm assuming that would be part of the training process itself. I know our nurses have said that they would be interested in getting the results also, so they could just support families in that process of analyzing and having conversations about it. But that's kind of what I know for now.
Any questions? Okay, if not, I need a motion and a second to approve the Blue Leaf Play for voluntary ECG screenings for Blue Ridge CUSD number 18 as presented.
So moved.
Sid?
Second.
Josh?
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Yeagle,
Yes.
Jason Nolan, David Harris,
Yes.
Sig Inger,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. Up next is the BCA and MDVRS joint agreements.
All right. So BCA, Bloomington Career Academy, is our career and technical ed center. So our high school students utilize that to get exposure to a variety of career and technical ed paths. The MDVRS is the McLean DeWitt Regional Vocational System. Sometimes you'll hear that referred to as Employment for Education, or EFE. We're in what's called the EFE 330, and that really just looks at providing funding and direct programs and services. A lot of the MDVRS is really connected with funding and providing services for the Bloomington Career Academy. We're going to talk a little bit more about this later, but our district is very lucky to have these programs that allow access to these CTE courses and opportunities. And really the one noteworthy change is that to touch base on is that one school district, Deer Creek Mackinac, is wanting to join BCA, new school to join this opportunity, the CTE Center. It doesn't really change us or have any negative impacts, I guess, for Blue Ridge that we can kind of think about at the moment. In fact, potentially it may provide more money, which provides more opportunities for new courses or additional instructors. So it could actually open up opportunities. So I think we should approve both agreements.
Any questions? Okay. If not, I need a motion and a second to approve the Bloomington Career Academy and the McLean DeWitt Regional Vocational System joint agreements for Blue Ridge CUSD number 18 as presented.
So moved. Second.
Josh and Yeagle.
Yeah, Sig.
Oh, it's Sig, sorry. Okay, scratch.
So it's Sig Yeagle,
Yes. I don't want to take away Sig's effort.
Jonathan Yeagle,
Yes.
Jason Nolan, David Harris,
Yes.
Sig Inger,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. And next is closed session. I need a motion and a second to move from open session to closed session for discussion of appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district at 8:08.
So moved.
Yeagle and Sid.
Jason Nolan, Sig Inger,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Yeagle,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes.